morning, everyone. Today is May 2nd, 2021. I cannot believe that, 1/3 of the year already has passed and it's already May. And I received the second vaccination on the last Thursday, and today is actually Friday. I'm recording this on Friday, and then my body sores, and I guess I had high fever during the night, so I had to wake up a few times, and my shoulder still feels heavy, but my heart is lighter than before the vaccination, and then I hope if you haven't received any vaccination yet, I hope you will be able to receive the vaccination soon. And I'm looking forward to see everybody in Hondo sometime, maybe in 2021. So today we are going to chant Juseige, and Juseige is on page 93 of Shin Buddhist Service Book. And if you don't have Shin Buddhist Service Book, please keep watching the screen so that you will see Juseige. And Juseige will be followed by the reading of Ryogemon II. And Ryogemon II will appear on the screen too. Then today, instead of Dharma talk, I would like to give a Dharma lecture. Actually, this is a lecture I gave for the Steveston Buddhist Temple in Canada for their Hanamatsuri service or lecture. And I thought, I guess this is a good opportunity to share what I have shared for the other temple's Sangha members, two Oregon Buddhist Temple's Sangha members. So I hope you will enjoy the lecture portion too. And then we will sing Ondokusan I, and that will be the end of today's service. So please join me in Gassho. Please put your palms together. Namo Amida Buddha. Namo Amida Buddha. Namo Amida Buddha. Namanda Buddha. Namanda Buddha. Namanda Buddha. 가곤초 세간 이시무조도 시간 흠만족 세이후조쇼각 가오무료고 의다이세슛 의사이쇼빙긋 세이후조쇼각 가시조붓노 묘쇼조집보 극교미쇼몬 세이후조쇼각 리오크진쇼넨 조회슈봉교 시금의조도 이쇼탱인시 진리키엔다이코 후쇼무사이도 조조상크묘 고사이슈야크난 가이히치에겐 메시곤모암 에이소크쇼아크도 즈닷젠슈몬 고소조만족 이요로지뽀 니치갓슈즈키 땡코옴프겐 이슈카이호조 고세크도크호 조다이슈츠 세포시시끝 그요이사이붓 그속슈토크홈 감내시트요맘 得意三害を女仏無下知津達未不詳願学へ力投資最小尊志願脈国家大戦の感動国書天院道珍妙系アマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブがんにしくどく平等性祭道本菩提心往生安楽公ナマンダブツナマンダブツナマンダブツナマンダブツナマンダブツナマンダブツナマンダブナマンダブツNow we are going to read Ryogemon II. Ryogemon, I rely on Amida Buddha with my whole heart for the attainment of nirvana. I give up trusting my powerless self and abandon all practices that rely on the false ego. I know that because of Amida's boundless compassion, I am assured of rebirth the very moment I put my trust in Amida. I call the name Namo Amida Butsu in happiness and thanksgiving for the gift of the universal vow. I am grateful for Shinran Shonin and his followers for leading me to this profound teaching. I will try to live throughout my life according to the way of Nembutsu that they have taught. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. So as I mentioned earlier, I would like to share the lecture today, and the title is What is Right in Buddhism? This is a lecture I did for Stevenson Buddhist Temple in Canada for their Hanamatsuri lecture in April. Then I went through this lecture with the study class group of Oregon Buddhist Temple, and I had so much input from them. It was really interesting. On one slide, we talked about we talked about a slide for about 15, 20 minutes, and the study class members were saying like, "Oh, sensei, you should put this in this way, and that, and this makes me confused," and so I had to really modify the slide a little bit. But thanks for the input, and I think the slide looks much better now, and hopefully this helps to understand what is right in Buddhism. But this is just my understanding. It doesn't mean that you should understand this way, or I'm not forcing you or pushing you to understand in this way. But I just wanted to share my understanding of what is right in Buddhism, and I hope this helps you to deepen the understanding of what is right in Buddhism. Okay, and today this is what my lecture looks like. Four Noble Truths and a Four Noble Path. Most of you already know or have heard of Four Noble Truths and a Four Noble Path before, so I'm not going into detail, but I will briefly talk about it. Then I will talk about what is right in Sanskrit, and right view from Yogacarra's standpoint, and right view in Jodo Shinshu. And Yogacarra is one of the Mahayana philosophy, and then that is one of them, my favorite. So I just wanted to share Yogacarra's standpoint too. So Four Noble Truths. We often say Four Noble Truths, but truth in Sanskrit, that is satya, and satya etymologically, satya has the meaning beingness, but one of the study class members said beingness doesn't make sense, so I just changed the word beingness to existence, and I hope this makes sense. So Four Noble Truths, we often say Four Noble Truths, but Four Noble Truths could be four truths exist as reality of our lives. Four truths exist as reality of our lives. And as you see, Buddhism often think that causes from the result. So result comes first, then we have cause. We have the reality of suffering, right? And suffering of birth, aging, illness, death, separation, and so on. And because we have self-centered afflictions and desires, that is why there is suffering or unsatisfactoriness. Then there is reality of cessation of suffering or nirvana. This was proved by Shakyamuni Buddha's life, right? Shakyamuni Buddha attained enlightenment, cessation of suffering or nirvana. And the path to the cessation is the cause of enlightenment, cessation of suffering. So Shakyamuni Buddha too walked the path or took the path to the nirvana. That became the cause. And then there was the result, right? So there is always result and cause. So this means that some people might think, I'm not a good person, so there are no way for me to attain cessation of suffering or nirvana. But this Four Noble Truths, for reality of our, for reality of existence, or for reality of our lives, teaches us that there is always path to attain nirvana, regardless of abilities of the self, okay? And then the path is often described with the Eightfold Noble Path. Eightfold Noble Path are right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right meditation. So these eight are the Eightfold Noble Path. But there are actually no specific practices as Eightfold Noble Path. This means that contents of Eightfold Noble Path varies. Of course, there are Eightfold Noble Path, but when we right view as example, when we say right view, there is no specific practice of right view. Okay, right view, contents of right view varies. That is why I have picked the standpoint of Yogacarra and Jodo Shinshu today. Okay. Then the question is, what is right means? Is right means right for me or right for somebody else? Or what is right means? So right in Sanskrit. This is right in Sanskrit, it's samyak. And according to this Monier Sanskrit dictionary, samyak has a lot of meaning, as you see, But I learned that samyak could understood as go along with enlightenment. Go along with enlightenment. I guess you see the word like going along with or together, turn together, or in one direction here, right? So go along with the enlightenment. That is right. It could be correct or proper in Buddhism. And this understanding is really important understanding for today's lecture. So please keep this understanding in your mind. Go along with the enlightenment is right. So first understanding I would like to share is the understanding from the perspective of Yogacara, which is one of the Mahayana Buddhist philosophy, as I mentioned. And this philosophy was perfected by one of the 7 Pure Land masters, Vasubandhu, in 5th century. And Yogacara practitioners insist the idea of Vijñaptimatra. Well, if you understood what I have said, then I think you have already good knowledge of Yogacara, but Vijñaptimatra is often translated as consciousness only, consciousness only. But actually, it's more accurate to say that representation only, representation only. Everything is the representation of our mind. So outside world or the world itself is the representation of our mind. So this Yogacara school's thought actually influenced a famous Vietnamese monk, Thich Nhat Hanh, and he wrote a book on yoga based on Yogacara's thought. So according to this, Monier's definition of the word samyak, there is another meaning. You see somewhere around here, complete, right? Complete. So complete, what is complete means? What complete means? So complete means having all the necessary or appropriate parts or full or entire according to the English dictionary. So this is the chart of kind of the stream of my thought. This is more like playing with the words, but enlightenment is the perfection of wisdom. Okay, perfection of wisdom and compassion, especially in Mahayana Buddhism. And perfection means not lacking, not lacking. So it means not lacking the wisdom and compassion. That is the enlightenment, right? Then not lacking means complete, right? So we could understood right view as complete view, go along with the enlightenment. Does it make sense? Does this flow of the thought? I hope this makes sense. But this is how I understood. And then in representation only school, there is the idea of the 3 natures. This made people confusing. So hopefully you understand. But dependent, imaginary, and consummate. When I was learning at school, I was told that consummate means, or consummate equals dependent minus imaginary. But when I showed this to the study class members, it's kind of confusing. So I kind of added another, how do I say, formula, a kind of formula. But it said dependent plus imaginary is equals imaginary view of ordinary beings. And dependent plus imaginary minus imaginary. This is consummate view of Buddha. So dependent is dependent co-arising, true reality itself. But ordinary beings add imaginary view into the true reality. So that is why we see the world with our self-centered views or our imagination, or we create the world with our imagination. Then what is consummate? That is no imaginary view. So it's Buddha's view. Buddha's view is to see dependent co-arising, engi, or dependent origination as dependent origination, right? So I hope this makes sense, right? So you see this triangle. This is the structure of our mind based on the understanding of Yogacara school. And you see the arrows, right? I shared this chart many times at the OBT. So some of the Sangha members remember this chart, but we store experiences and impressions into alaya storehouse consciousness. And how we store our experiences, impressions, that is through six consciousness of visual, auditory, olfactory, gustatory, tactile, and mental. Okay. Then through six consciousness, experiences, impressions through six consciousness will be stored in storehouse consciousness called alaya. But it goes through afflictive consciousness called manas. And manas working is just like the filter filled with coffee in the coffee machine. The water itself has no taste nor color, right? But by going through the coffee filter, the water becomes coffee. So we are adding our self-centered judgments on anything we experience and store the experience and impressions into storehouse consciousness. And not only store the experiences and impressions, but also it appears as outside world with our self-centered values and impressions. So, for instance, this is cilantro. For those who love cilantro, this picture looks yummy, but those who doesn't like cilantro, this, just like me, this picture of cilantro itself has no values in my life. Why this difference occurs? There are differences between people because we all have own taste of what is good and bad, like and dislike, and so on. So this is the view of ordinary beings, imaginary view. We are creating the world outside of the self, and we are judging people and things depending on our self-centered imagination. So because of this structure and the working of the mind, actually this one, there arises discrimination. All people rely on the self-centered judgments and values. And unfortunately, for some people, the other ethnicities, races, colors of skin, or genders are the target of the discrimination. This is sad nature of ordinary being, foolishly relying on our self-centered judgments and values. But Buddha's view is consummate, right? Buddha sees dependent thing as dependent thing, which means everything is equal in values. There are no differences of values between ethnicities, races, colors of skin, genders, and so on. So this is the complete view which go along with the enlightenment. So consummate Buddha's view. This is the complete view which go along with the enlightenment, which means this is the right view. Now then, how Jodo Shinshu teaching is related to this Yogacarra's understanding. Because our ordinary being's view is imaginary, what we need is to rely on the view of Buddha, consummate view, or the complete view go along with the enlightenment. So this is the passage from the Chantal, Deep Mind, on commentary on the Contemplation Sutra. And Chantal is one of the 7 Pure masters from China. And Shinran Shonin quotes this passage in chapter on Shinjin of Jodo Shinshu. And it said, deep mind is a deeply entrusting mind. There are 2 aspects. One is to believe deeply and decidedly that you are a foolish being of karmic evil, caught in birth and death, ever thinking and ever wandering in transmigration from innumerable kalpas in the path, with never a condition that will lead to emancipation. The second is to believe deeply and decidedly that Amida Buddha's 48 vows grasp sentient beings, and that allowing yourself to be carried by the power of the vow without any doubt or apprehension, you will attain birth. So actually, this is the contents of Shinjin, entrusting heart. Because we relied on the imaginary view, because we relied on the imaginary view from distant past, our action were based on the imaginary view. So everything was wrong or going against the enlightenment. That is why we have experienced transmigration from the distant past. But because of this nature of me attached with self-centered afflictions, Amida Buddha established the 48 vows so to save all beings. And through the power, through the working of Amida's great vow, we are able to attain enlightenment. And this is the teaching recommended by Shakyamuni Buddha. In the other word, this is the view of Buddha. This is, through relying on this Buddha's view and Buddha's working, we are able to attain enlightenment. And because this is the complete view which go along with the enlightenment. Shakyamuni Buddha is the one historical Buddha who attained enlightenment in this world. Amida Buddha is the Buddha who attained enlightenment in the distant past. So these 2 Buddhas are recommending us to entrust ourselves to the working of Amida Buddha. Then we are able to attain Buddhahood in the Pure Land of Amida Buddha. This is the complete view which go along with the enlightenment. And we ordinary beings who have imaginary view, we just need to entrust ourselves or totally rely on the consummate complete view of Buddha. Then we are able to escape from this world of birth and death or experience the cessation of suffering. So second and third passage I would like to share is from the Raja Sutra. And the Raja Sutra is a sutra we Jodo Shinshu Buddhists rely on. The third vow of Bodhisattva Dharmakara or Amida Buddha said, If when I attain Buddhahood, the humans and devas in my land should not all be the color of genuine gold, may I not attain the perfect enlightenment. So every being becoming the color of genuine gold doesn't mean that we all become like C-3PO from the Star Wars. From the Buddha's consummate views, every being is shining, just like genuine gold. This means that in this world of imaginary, we see beings with our self-centered values. Something might be valuable than others, but actually every being is equal in value. In one of the writings called Jodo Shinshu, Essentials of Faith Alone, written by Honen Shonin's disciple, Seikaku Hoin, he quotes the hymn by Tsu Min, included in shorter Pure Land liturgy of Nembutsu chant in 5 stages. It said, the Buddha in the Koso stage made a universal vow. When beings hear my name and think of me, I will come to welcome each of them, not discriminating at all between the poor and the rich and well-born, not discriminating between the inferior and the highly gifted, not choosing the learned and those holding pure precepts, not rejecting those who break precepts and whose evil karma is profound, solely making beings turn about and abundantly say the Nembutsu. I can make bits of rubble change into gold. So it's not about wealth, abilities, or our own calculations. Through the working of Amida Buddha, we all attain enlightenment. And this working of Amida Buddha does not choose people. Every beings are as valuable as gold. So this is the teaching of absolute equality. So this third vow of Amida Buddha teaches us that instead of judging people and things with our imaginary views, we have to rely on Buddha's view and rethink our own actions. And the next quote I would like to share is from the fourth vow of Amida Buddha. If when I attain Buddhahood, the humans and devas in my land should not all be of the same appearance and should be either beautiful or ugly, may I not attain the perfect enlightenment. So again, becoming the same appearance does not mean that we all become look-alike. There will be no discrimination by the appearance. This is what the fourth vow is expressing. Amida Buddha had to establish this vow because there are so many discrimination by the appearance happening in the world. You know, now we see so many news regarding Asian hate, but the discrimination was always there because we relied on the imaginary values. We distinguish what is better or not. And this vow teaches us that we should not judge people by appearances, such as ethnicities, races, and beliefs. But we should see each individual as individual. And this is the consummate view of Buddha, complete view, right view of Buddha. And as Buddhists, we should rely on the view of Buddha, and we have to rethink our way of looking at people and think. So how we see people and things changes, how we think, speak, and act changes accordingly. But we Buddhists rely on the view of Buddha, and view of Buddha is complete, consummate view, which go along with enlightenment and act accordingly with this view. That is the attitude or the life of Buddhist. And then by relying through Buddha's consummate complete view, which go along with the enlightenment, how we think, speak, and act changes, or we realize that how we think, speak, and act should be changed. So it's not like, oh, I'm changing, or it's not like I now received Buddha's view, so I can act just like Buddha. It's not the way it is. Through Buddha's view, we see our true selves and we rethink how we act. That is what I wanted to say in this conclusion. But looking at these words, I thought I need to explain a little bit more, and I hope this makes sense. Through Buddha's view, we realize our true selves or true nature, that we are seeing the world with imaginary view, so that we have to rethink our own action. And then relying on Buddha's consummate or complete view. This is what right means in Buddhism. So I hope this made sense, and hopefully we can discuss about this lecture sometime at the Dharma Exchange too. So thank you for attending today's service. We still have the singing of Ondokusan I, but I will conclude my talk with Gassho and Nembutsu. So please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Buddha, Namo Amida Buddha, Namo Amida Buddha, Namanda Buddha, Namanda Buddha, Namanda Buddha. I hope you have enjoyed the lecture, and now we are going to sing Ondokusan I with a cappella. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 如来大悲の音読は身を粉にしてもほずべし死守知識の音読も骨を砕きてもシャすべし。Ondokusan, the depth of gratitude I owe to Amida's great compassion, I will proclaim until my life disintegrates into dust. The depth of gratitude I owe to my Dharma teachers, I will express until my bodily form is finally shattered. Namo Amida Buddha, Namo Amida Buddha, Namo Amida Buddha, Namanda Buddha, Namanda Buddha, Namanda Buddha. And this will conclude today's morning service. And we are going to have Dharma School today. So if you are Dharma School students, please go to the Zoom link for Dharma School, and I will see you there. And if you are not Dharma School student, if you are participating or joining me the morning service, then I will see you tomorrow morning. But if not, I will see you next week. So thank you for attending today's service, and I hope you will have a great day today. So thank you.